I would like to call the meeting to order. Zach, would you like to do roll call?
Yeah, Miss Meyer, Mr. Getz, Miss Heaton,
Here.
Mr. Schmidt,
Here.
and Miss Conover is absent this evening.
Thank you, Zach. Jackie sent out the end of last week the agenda for tonight's meeting. I would like to get a motion for approval, please.
Motion to approve.
Did you make a motion? I second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you very much. Along in that email was the minutes of the last meeting, which was held on May 14th. I'm sorry, July. We're in this little weird area of doing work sessions as well.
That's correct. The meeting was May 14th.
Okay, thank you, Zach.
And that was the evening that we had the power outage here at City Hall.
That's
and we
right.
had the meeting at
It's
the
all coming
municipal
back to
maintenance
me.
facility.
Yep, that's right. Thank you. If you've all gotten a chance to review those minutes, I will take a motion for approval.
Motion to approve?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. Let's move on to the work session report. Zach, would you like to share with us, please?
Okay, good evening. So to start out tonight with the work session report, this is a little bit different of a format now this year. We've gone from monthly live meetings to doing quarterly live meetings. And in those other 2 months, we have been doing on-site work sessions out and about in the community. We've met at the senior center, we've met at a few parks. And this is just a recap for the public of where Park Board met and some of the recaps from those work sessions. So back in June, we met at Stafford Park. The staff met on site at the playground, at the shelter. We reviewed some of the recent projects that have happened out at the park, including the playground replacement in 2019. And we took a tour of the pedestrian bridge that will be replaced later this fall. Aaron will talk about that in a little bit more detail in the division report. We also had an opportunity to talk about the ADA transition plan and some of the recommendations at Stafford Park, which one our staff will be working on this fall, installing an ADA accessible sidewalk to the playground and shelter, as well as an ADA accessible picnic table. Also at the June meeting, we had a discussion on the parks reorganization, which I'll chat about here momentarily. And then moving to July, just last month, we met out at Walnut Grove Park. We talked briefly about the 4th of July recap and talked about the great event that we had in our community. And then we talked about some upcoming projects within the park. The main one being the playground replacement. So when you all were there, that playground had not been replaced, but it was really close to starting. Our staff went in, removed the playground in one weekend. They did a phenomenal job prepping that site for a new playground. And then just that following week, we had a contractor come in to install the new playground. Here's a photo of that. I had my kids out there this past weekend. They approve. So we kind of reviewed that project. We also chatted about the Ella's Garden neighborhood that's going in here in the coming months and years, providing additional access points on both of the stub streets where the park is. We additionally talked about some of the ADA transition projects slated for that park as well. Just like Stafford Park, installing a sidewalk extension from this current sidewalk to the playground and the shelter, and installing ADA accessible picnic table. Again, these are many projects that we have as far as the ADA transition plan goes, but when we have these work sessions, it's a great opportunity to highlight some of the upcoming and completed work orders as it relates to the ADA transition plan. Also at the July meeting, we talked about some of the park levy options that City Council was considering, and I'll touch on that here in a moment as well. So back at the June meeting, we talked a lot about the parks reorganization. Back in earlier this year, March and April, Kim Farrell left us as the parks director. In May of this year, I was promoted to director, and one of the first things I was tasked with was looking at a parks reorganization. And in doing so, we made some small changes, and we were able to promote Aaron Harris to our assistant parks director. And then we're currently in the process of hiring an operations supervisor and a recreation programmer. The reorganization was relatively small in manner, but it helped us layer and overlap some of our services to create a better succession plan for our team. Pulled the senior center supervisor out from underneath the recreation programmer to allow that position to really hone in and focus on some of the programming and events that are going on in our community. And the operations supervisor will focus more on the day-to-day and month-to-month planning within our operations team, allowing the assistant parks director to help out with a lot more of the administrative tasks and planning, overseeing both of those positions. Aaron and I just finished second round interviews today for the operations supervisor, and tomorrow we'll finish second round interviews for the recreation programmer. So we're very hopeful that in the coming few days we'll have offers out, get our new team on board, and plan for the future. Also, congratulations to Erin Harris, promoted assistant park director in July, and she will oversee the recreation programmer and the operations supervisor. Erin's been here for 9 years, has a wealth of knowledge. We're excited to have her in this position and continue to grow and be a part of the team leading us into the future. At the July meeting, we talked about some of the park levy options that City Council was considering, and shortly after that July work session, City Council passed a resolution to place a 0.49 mil continuous fixed levy on the ballot this November. They took many things into consideration. This was one of three options. It was the middle option that they ended up choosing. One of the things when we went out with our last parks levy and was approved in 2019 is pretty much set when we do all the projections. It's placing out there for 5 years of revenue to cover our operations and capital. And it's now we're at the end of that 5 years where expenditures will start to exceed revenue because that property, all those formulas they go in there, that the property tax levy revenues only last so long. Those only increase 1 to 2% annually. They do not keep up with inflation. So this levy helps us maintain our current level of operations. It will also add 3 additional staff members to our team, 2 parks operators to help with the maintenance team, and 1 senior center transportation coordinator to help out with our incredible transportation program, as well as senior center operations. So as you can see in this chart, the estimated salary cost with benefits of the $270,000, plus the added capital equipment on average of additional $59,000 per year for capital equipment replacement. It'll also increase contractual commodities to help with inflation of about $22,000 annually. It'll add, on average, $50,000 extra in ADA compliance to help us meet some of the ADA projects we have outlined in the ADA transition plan. And it'll also increase capital improvement projects on average by about $90,000 annually. And this is in addition to what's already in our current budget. So the total revenue generated from this levy is just over $1 million annually, which the cost per 100,000 valuation is $17 per 100,000. So if residents or anyone has additional questions, please visit our website, and there's a Parks Levy tab with additional information for some frequently asked questions, as well as a link to the resolution presentation and the presentation slides for the Park Levy. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Aaron to talk about some of the updates within the Parks, Recreation, and Culture Division.
Thank you, Zach.
All right, hello. So we have a whole bunch to talk about. We are wrapping up a busy summer as school is going back, and we will try to recap the last busy season and give you some updates on what's coming up as well. I will start with the senior center side of things. We had a cool new Father's Day event. We've always had a Father's Day event of some sort, but we tried out something new this year. We hosted a golf outing for Father's Day. This was actually on, I believe it was the Monday after Father's Day, over at our golf club. And the gentleman who participated got to enjoy 9 holes of golf, so not, so intense, so many hours long of a full 18 holes, and a box lunch from Cherry House. They had a really nice time. It was really neat to try something new and get some people out to the golf course in maybe a less competitive atmosphere than some are used to. I know some of those groups were still competitive, though. In June, we hosted a luau. We went to thank Hawker Church. They are next door, pretty much next door neighbors to the senior center, and they allowed us to use their picnic shelter that they have. It's a great spot to be really close to the senior center, but still be enjoying the outdoors. And we had a cookout and live music. It was a great day. It thunderstormed right at the end of it. And but everybody kind of hunkered down for a few minutes and let the rain pass, and all was well. But we had one of those cool pop-up storms that afternoon. But it was an enjoyable time, good food, good music. And then we also had a midsummer picnic in July. This was out at Dominic Lafino Park. So we really got people out and about seeing different things besides the four walls of the Senior Center Great Room for our events this summer. And we want to thank Dayspring of the Miami Valley for sponsoring that cookout that was out at the park. In terms of upcoming events, one of our favorite annual events is actually tomorrow at the Senior Center, the Corn Roast. So if you haven't signed up yet, you probably have missed out. I'm sure there's a waiting list. I'm sure it was full within an hour of registration opening. But the Corn Roast will be tomorrow. It's sponsored by Family Hearing Centers. It'll be a great time. The food's usually delicious, and people dress up kind of in harvest and corn type themes, lots of plaid and straw hats and overalls sometimes. So the Corn Roast is a fun time. And then we have a new special event coming up in September, provided by Arcadia Care at Dayton, a new sponsor to us. They're going to be providing dinner and live music on September 26th. So if you're interested in coming out, we do a lot of lunches at the Senior Center, so this will be a little fun to have a dinner. And then we are very excited. In the past, we have done a health fair in October and a garage sale in September. Well, a few years ago, we transitioned the garage sale, partly COVID related, to be an outdoor garage sale where people were able to, rent a space and table to sell items in the garage sale. You could come out, basically hit multiple people's garage sales at once, right in our parking lot. And then we would have the health fair the next month. We decided this year to try to combine it all and have a whole day of fun with the health fair inside the center. We'll have health screenings, information on local health providers, medical services, and senior service providers as well. And then outside the center, we will have vendors, people who want to sell their, garage sale items, people who want to sell crafts, maybe even local farmers selling produce. So it should be a really nice time for people to come out. This will be on Friday, September 13th from 10 to 2. We're hoping for a few food vendors so people can come out and enjoy lunch and do some shopping and make sure they're up to date on all of their health needs before, winter comes. If you know anybody who might be interested in setting up as a vendor either in the health fair or in our outdoor market, please have them contact the center so that they don't miss out on a spot. So a few additional updates. We recently were awarded from the Greene County Council on Aging a couple of grants. As you're likely aware, the Greene County Council on Aging and their grant funding is critical for our operations and our transportation program every year. They make up about half of our senior center budget. They are also critical funders for us for the special grant every year. Usually they have a special grant opportunity. This year it was $5,000, and we can get a lot of different things with that. Of course, we have to submit an application, and they have to approve it. This year we were able to get a ping pong table. Our ping pong table had broken. New bingo cards, fitness equipment, and speakers for the fitness room. So we didn't get like one giant piece of fitness equipment, but we got some smaller pieces of fitness equipment with that special grant, as well as a vehicle grant. This was a surprise to us. Greene County Council on Aging has a normal cycle, and we didn't know that we would come up, and they said, hey, you're going to be up sooner this year. Do you want to apply for this grant? So this is $40,000 to help us with the purchase of a new vehicle for the transportation service. So in addition to the $40,000, we also had donations to this center for the transportation program that totaled over $60,000 that we're able to use as well. So it's amazing that we're able to do that. So unfortunately, it takes a little bit of time. There's a little bit of lead time when you put in these orders for these custom vehicles, with special doors and lifts and ramps. So it might be still a little bit, probably next year till we see that vehicle. I do want to highlight the Volunteer of the Quarter that Park Board selected most recently. This is Betsy Witt. She was our Volunteer of the Quarter. She's one of our transportation volunteers, and she is like willing to do anything. And she's always got a great attitude. You see that beautiful smile in her picture there. She's always willing to come in and fill in if we need help from someone to do the schedule, if we need help for somebody to drive a vehicle, if we need help for somebody to escort. I know I've been at the center before when maybe something goes haywire, somebody's doctor's appointment ran late, or this or that. She's always first to raise her hand. I can do it. I'll add him to my list. You know, she'll jump in and do anything to help our program, and we are just so thankful for her. Moving on over to the recreation side. In May, we had a Memorial Day ceremony. It was a beautiful day. We want to thank everyone who's involved with that. That takes a lot of community partners. We have support from Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, of course, from their public affairs and their music, the Band of Flight, as well as you see a photo there of the Beavercreek Air Force Junior ROTC. Of course, our local VFW, 8312 is involved, and we just are so thankful for all of the community partners who come out to remember those that we've lost in service to our country. Also, right before Memorial Day, the Friday before Memorial Day, we had our annual golf scramble. This is a picture of something new we had this year. We had a golf ball cannon at one of the holes, so you could try that instead of trying to get your longest drive. You could get it with your golf ball cannon there. That was a pretty big hit. You paid a little bit of dollars. You know, it's a fundraiser to use that golf ball cannon, and people had fun with it. Our summer concert series just wrapped up. I want to thank our park board. Several members were able to go out and help us host those events and interact with the public, and thank our sponsors for that as well. Those were on Sunday evenings. We've run 8 weeks, and this year, we didn't have any of our Sundays rain out. We had a couple Sundays where we thought it might be a little dicey, and I think we had one where we set up under the shelter. But otherwise, it was a beautiful string of Sundays that we had. We had over 3,000 people attend this summer's concert series, which I believe last year our estimate was about 1,700. We did had some weird weather days and some reschedules last year, but I know some of the concerts I was out to, the parking was hard to find. There was creative parking happening, maybe in non-traditional parking spots as well. So it's great to see the community support, and we'll figure out some of those parking issues for the future. You can also see here, we have our communications director recently became a drone pilot, so she was able to get some cool angles of photos from the concert series that we haven't been able to get in the past. So you can see that the parking lot's full there during a concert. We also wrapped up our popular summer day camp. This ran for 8 weeks as well. We were just shy of 600 registrations when we were all said and done. And that's not because of lack of registrations. That's actually, double what we did about 5 years ago. But due to staffing issues, we had to stop letting people in off the waiting list. We couldn't hire enough staff to keep letting people in. We had waiting lists for every week of camp, and in fact, those waiting lists were about 30 people long most of the weeks. So we know that that's our service and our program is desired and needed in the community, and we'll continue to work for solutions to continue to increase that program and maintain the quality that everyone is looking for in that program. We did have 12 staff hired. We had originally planned for 10. We had already bumped that up a few to get more people in. So we do want to thank all of our staff. If you haven't worked at a summer camp program, those 8 weeks go fast, but the days go really long sometimes. It's a lot of work, and it's rewarding work, but we're thankful for them. We also want to thank the staff at Fairbrook Elementary School. They are huge supports to us. That is where we host our summer day camp program, and they are just, big supports in helping us maintain a clean and safe environment to have our program. at our 4th of July. Right now, this is an estimate of about 8,000 attendees. If you were there, we got rained on right before the fireworks happened, so we know we had peak attendance right before the rain happened this year, as a lot of people were trying to, seek some shelter around 9:30, 9:45. But we still had a great turnout. It was a beautiful day. So fun to see so many people in our community come out and enjoy. We want to especially thank the volunteers on our committee, the Joshi family, which has generously donated the funding for our fireworks, and our many other sponsors that support the event and make it possible for us to have it. And then, I think this was just last week that we had our National Night Out on Tuesday night. National Night Out is a national campaign. That National Night Out is that second Tuesday of August, the first Tuesday of August. And we partnered with the police department for the second year in a row to host it out at Rotary Park. And we love hosting it with them out there at the park. It's a really enjoyable evening at the park. I want to thank Candy, who was out there helping interact with the public. And we had some of our summer camp counselors who were running the inflatables. Of course, police were out there, our fire department, Care Flight came. We had the sheriff's department out, Ohio State Highway Patrol, all sorts of different community law enforcement entities were out there to engage with the public and just have a good time. So it was a fun time. You can see a photo there of Care Flight and one of our police captains as well. We'll look forward to that again next year. To mark your calendars for some upcoming events, our fishing derby runs September 19th through September 26th. Ever since COVID, you likely remember that we moved this from a one-day event to a just over a week long, where you can go out to Dominic Lafino Park. We will have stocked a pond right before that span of dates. Go on out to the park, do some fishing with your kids or your grandkids or your neighbor's kids, and take a picture, send it in to us. That's all you have to do to be entered to win prizes. We get all sorts of great donations from local businesses, tickets to places like Kings Island or Reds games, Dragons games, COSI even. So all sorts of fun things, local attractions. I know Puzzles Plus and Old Scratch Pizza and Beavercreek Pizza Dive. All those places have supported us in the past with prizes. So we enter everybody who sends in a photo into that prize drawing. We will host our Try-A-Truck in partnership with the fire department that does open house on October 5th. This will be from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. We will do our sensory-friendly hour from 10 to 11, which is no lights, no honking horns, people who might, and kiddos who might benefit from a more quiet, less stimulating environment. It can be quite jarring if you're standing in front of a semi-truck and they blare the horn right in front of you. So that first hour is a little bit more chill, but come on out at any time during those 3 hours. And I will, of course, share with Park Board opportunities to volunteer at that as well. And then our Veterans Day celebration will be on Veterans Day, November 11th. This is a time of year where a lot of our classes are ramping back up. People have summer vacations and they sign up for summer camps and they do all sorts of fun events. And then once the school year kind of starts back up, people get kind of back into the rhythm of going to their yoga class or going to their dance lessons. And so we have, of course, some goat yoga lined up for the fall. And we have our adult fitness classes starting back up. There's music, art, and dance classes for youth through adults. Please check out our website, as well as youth sports. We have lots of introductory sports through both Amazing Athletes and our Skyhawks partners. And so things like youth basketball, pickleball, soccer, multi-sport programs you can find for younger kiddos. And then, as you get into more competitive things, we direct you to our community partners who are able to offer those things. I do want to thank some of our major sponsors from this past summer season. The Joshi family, as I mentioned before, are great supporters of the 4th of July event with their support for the fireworks. MetroNet was a partner that started working with us last year, and they've been really supportive again this year in supporting several events, including National Night Out this summer. And Day Air Credit Union has been partnering with us for several years now, and great supporters of ours as well. National Night Out was one of the things they supported this summer. You will see both Metronet and Day Air at future events, including, I think, Try a Truck for them both. So we're just thankful for the support that we have in the community to be able to do these special events for everyone at, free of charge. It's feeling a little long as I go through all this, but here we go into what we've been doing in the parks. Some of you joined us on July 29th, and we want to thank Be Hope Church for coordinating a volunteer effort. We had over 80 volunteers come out to Springhouse Park to help us further develop trails. There is a trail system that we started last year when we opened the park. We were able to connect onto that trail system, and the trails are now accessible from both the north and south entrances to the park. And you were always able to make a loop before, but now you can loop in a little more cohesive way and do some more hiking in the woods than you were able to before. And it's actually really helpful now if you notice that there is some construction going on to help with the stormwater and project that's happening for the neighborhood next door that's helping us get our pond at Springhouse Park. Now there's some more options for you to hike and avoid the construction going on as well. Over at Wartinger Park, if you drive on over there, we want to thank the Beavercreek Historical Society. They are leading and financing a very exciting project. This is restrooms connected to the Tobias Zimmer barn. So we are very excited. The city will own and maintain the restrooms when they are completed, but as we noticed, the Historical Society has utilized donations and support to them to actually lead and finance the construction of the restrooms. And it's looking like these will be done by early September. So this will be really nice. There is a restroom facility accessible to visitors of Wartinger Park that's on the back side of the firehouse. And a lot of people don't realize it's there. This will be, more accessible to users of the park, a really great benefit to those who rent the facility, that you can rent the barn for your events, and a really great asset for the Living History program that welcomes all of the district's third graders in the spring and fall. As Zach already mentioned, our Walnut Grove Playground is installed. It is open for play. And staff's going to begin installing a sidewalk from the road to the playground and the shelter, as well as putting that new ADA, that's the accessible picnic table, under the shelter as well. So it looks really nice and very fun. So go on out there and check it out. Try out a slide. There's a couple new cool swings as well. So check it out with your friends and family. And then Zach also mentioned earlier Stafford Park, which is also one of the sites that Park Board visited this summer. We worked with the city engineer to order a bridge. Unfortunately, that delivery has been delayed until October. We were expecting for it to have already been here. But here we are. We will work on having that installed when it comes in October. And staff's going to begin installing a sidewalk to the playground at that park as well. And then over at Virgilito Park, you've likely been hearing about this. We are prepping the base for the paved pedestrian path that'll be around the perimeter of the park, and that will occur this fall. We are really excited about this added amenity to this park. This is our only park with the accessible surfacing, the poured in place accessible surfacing around the playground. So this will be really nice to have a paved accessible path as well, and great for park patrons to walk. There's a lot of neighborhood houses that kind of connect in the back of it as well. It'll be a great asset. And that is along Lance Road. If you're not familiar with that park, go and check it out. All right. What questions do you all have?
What surface are you doing? Asphalt or concrete for the paved portion of that walk? Asphalt?
That's asphalt.
Okay. Just wondering.
Double checking over there.
Yeah, I will add. So a few years ago, we had within our 2019 Parks Master Plan, we had one of the goals for a lot of the parks was to create perimeter walking paths. The cost of asphalt is expensive. Our staff did try installing a crushed limestone path, but just did not have a lot of success with surface drainage, washing a lot of the path away, creating some maintenance issues. So we were able to use that base that we've already created as the primary base for this path. There's just some corrections and leveling that needs to occur out there, but then it will be paved, and it's one of those things we've learned and moved going forward. Everything will be a paved asphalt path and not rely on the crushed limestone in those park perimeter paths. When we get into some of the trail systems within maybe the forest, that would look a little bit different, where they're more of a natural surface. But as far as the perimeter walking paths, they're better suited to be paved with asphalt.
All right, thanks.
Any other questions for Aaron or Zach? Great. Thank you very much, Aaron. Any old business that we should discuss that we didn't discuss during the work session report or the division report? No? Thank you. New business coming up. I'd like to mention that we will have a partner group luncheon coming up on Wednesday, September 25th. This will be the second annual. I can say that, right? Second annual. That we're doing. We're going to try it again this year. Invitations will go out soon for that. So if you are a group that works with the parks, keep a lookout in your inboxes. Those will be emailed out soon. No unscheduled visitors today. Action items. Upcoming work sessions. I'd like to mention that, this is the first year we've done the work sessions, and I've really enjoyed them personally, going out and being in the community. So thank you for your guidance and where we go each month. In September, we'll be out at Vergalito Park. In October, we'll be at Fox Run Park. Some other things that we're working on, a park board manual. Zach, would you like to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, last month at the work session in July, Mr. Getz brought up the idea of being a new park board member, of having a park board manual to help train and educate some of our new park board members on what to expect when they come on board, and help educate them and give them some of the information and tools they need to be successful. So it's something that was one of his great ideas, and Aaron and I discussed that, and we think timing-wise will be really good with having 2 new park board members as well as 2 new staff members to coordinate and work on that together to create a manual that I think will benefit not only new park board members into the future, but also new staff members as they come on board, sharing with them, all those new members, what the role of the Parks, Recreation, and Culture Board is, and provide some guidance to help onboard them. So, Doug, great job coming up with that idea. Lots of work ahead of us, but I think it's something that will be very beneficial for us.
It will be fun to try and put it all together.
Thank you. Volunteer opportunities. Aaron, would you like to discuss that?
I'd be happy to. Of course, we always are looking for more volunteers at our senior center, from things like front desk, and especially our transportation service is always looking for additional volunteers. If you're not sure where you might be able to plug in, just give the center a call, and Chrissy over there coordinates a lot of our volunteer efforts, in particular the transportation program. So that's a great place to start, is have a conversation with her. We always are looking for groups who want volunteer projects as well as scouts. So give our office a call. We also have our volunteer application open online. So if you're looking for a way to plug in, or maybe something for your group to do, sometimes workplaces put groups together. We are happy to connect with the opportunities. In terms of park board, it is still a busy time of year, and as our seasonal staff leaves, I will continue to share with you all the opportunities, like the Try a Truck coming up is one of the ones that I think of, and as well as we're attending a few open houses, like for the school events and things like that coming up this fall. So as we get invited to those community functions, we'll be asking for your help in us engaging with the public as well. So I'll keep sharing those as well.
Great. Thank you very much.
I'd like to add on one thing to
Oh,
that.
please.
So, Aaron mentioned the impact Be Hope Church has had with us here with Be Hope Week, but holy smokes, if you look at what they do for the community as a whole, we were one project for the week. That same evening, they were cleaning windows in the schools. They were helping feed the creek. They were helping out the fish pantry. They were helping out so many different community organizations, and the impact they have is great. But just because that's so large, any amount of volunteerism is important. It could be one person, it could be a large group. Every little bit helps. And I do want to highlight, I know we've had several scout groups come and present on some of their recent projects here. I know at the last meeting in May, we had a group of 2 high school girls that shared about the fish habitat that they created. But upcoming, we'll have several more on the way. So we have a Girl Scout group working on their Silver Award at Lafino Park. They're creating some trail signage as well as a nature play area. And then we have 3 Eagle Scouts working on coordinating 3 projects that will all kind of combine to be one big project of creating stairs and a bridge over the ravine at Springhouse Park within the trail system. So we're always looking for groups to help out with some of these great projects and really lead and guide and give them some great opportunities.
Great, thank you. And if someone is interested in volunteering, they can just give you guys a call at the parks office, correct? Okay, great, thank you. Let's move on over to board time. Matt, would you like to start?
Yeah, I think I'd like to second the in liking how we've set up the monthly work sessions at the different parks. I've lived in Beavercreek for 15 years, and some of the parks I've just never been able to visit and see what nice things go on there. I will echo, though, that obviously I think by the next time we have a meeting here, the November election will have already happened, so I encourage everybody to get out and vote, support our parks, and the great things that we do. Get out and look at it. Fall's coming, you can see the great colors, and again, volunteer and get involved in the program that we have here.
Thank you. Move on over to Doug.
So I'm sort of the newbie on this group, and therefore in the learning process, feeling out what the responsibilities are for the board and for myself as an individual. I am impressed by the work done by the city people. Definitely Aaron and Zach, great work here. I'm impressed by the volunteerism of the people on the board. Absolutely wonderful. The activities that are offered by the city for city residents and even people outside the city are just amazing. Yes, I participated in the concert series to see how that was done, how that was handled. I try to become actively involved within the Senior Citizen Center. The spirit of volunteerism really shows forth there. So it's wonderful that that's done, but I also would like to echo that there is this levy that is being proposed. Ladies and gentlemen, it is your decision as to how to vote, those out in the community. I myself support that levy.
Candy.
Well, first I'd like to shout out to Be Hope Church for coming and clearing. It was an extremely hot night when they came. I mean, I don't remember if it was the feels like temperature was close to 100. It was hot, and they worked like it was 50 degrees outside. They just cleared that path and in record time, and then they still had 45 minutes left, and well, what else can we do? I was like, I'm melting, and they're like, we can go do anything. Let's, they were just ready to go, and there was a fence that needed to come down, and they just dug in. There wasn't anything that they backed away from and said, I don't know. They were sure, and they went, and so it's a great group that came out and worked very, very hard, and having that trail now that runs through the woods, and it connected to the old one they did last year. Am I correct? Is that, yeah? So now you can go from Patterson to Shakertown, and that's pretty cool. So big shout out to them. And again, the levy is coming up, and I want to make clear that it's an operating levy, so we need it for operating funds. It's not, correct me if I'm wrong, but it does not cover any improvements to Springhouse Park, because I've heard some things that people still think it's for Springhouse Park. And as far as I know, it's not for that. Am I correct?
You're correct. This levy will not fund the development of Springhouse Park. There are some projects going on at Springhouse Park that relates to ARPA funds. There's a stormwater project with the retention pond being built there. There's also some grant funding coming for a pedestrian path along Grange Hall Road, and we received $1 million from the state capital budget for phase 1 development of Springhouse Park. That is all grant money. This levy does not cover development funding for Springhouse Park. This maintains current operations, hires those 3 additional staff members, and provides some added capital for equipment replacement, ADA projects, and other park and facility upgrades.
Thank you. So, yeah, please vote because we need that to keep our parks and maintain them the way they are, and they're great. So that's all I have.
Thank you. I also will echo what everyone else has said about voting in November for the parks levy. Part of what makes Beavercreek such an amazing place to live are the green spaces in the parks that we have, and it's important to keep that up. So, yes, so vote coming up in November. Also, congratulations to you guys on a great summer full of summer camps and everything going on at the senior center. Wonderful. So kudos to you on doing so and with such a small staff and a small budget. So you guys did a great job, and the summer concert series was just amazing and such. I was at a few of the concerts, and the people just loved them. So you had a great mix of entertainment, and people stopped at the last one saying, "You guys are going to do this again next year, right?" And so just thank you for providing that to the community. Anyone else have anything? Great. I will take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And we are now adjourned.